All right, I am trying something new. We are doing a little broadcast here. This is Rosie. Right? She went to get room. We are mightyforce.org, small but mighty, with the use of Salesforce Success Pack and the power of 10 grants. I'm going to cover a little bit of presentation. This is extracted from a 2-hour workshop I did in Austin, Texas for the nonprofit user group. First, a little bit about me. I founded and run street-dependency. I'm a geek of 25 years from high-tech, electrical engineer. I started a nonprofit in 2008, and you've already met Rosie. I want to skip down to the data model, which is what I'll be talking about today. The data model for the Success Pack, nonprofit Success Pack. Knowledge of the data model is gold, and because Salesforce came from a commercial environment and is being applied to nonprofit, a few things are different, and the data model is a little bit different, and even though we use some of the same words, we mean slightly different things, and so I'm just going to give an overview of that today. So let me share my screen to make that possible. I should have shared the screen before now, so you could have seen some of the pictures of come up, but it doesn't matter. See if we can get to. Here we go. So here we are in the data model. Let me blow it up a little bigger for you with presentation mode. All right. So command of the data model is essential when you're reporting or designing or developing or planning. And as I said, there's a little bit of differences, so it's important to kind of talk about. People are at the heart of any contact relationship management or constituent relationship management, as we prefer to call it in the nonprofit world. Contacts are how you need to represent human beings of all sorts. And first off, let me say, avoid the temptation to use record types, particularly when you are new to Salesforce using nonprofits. It's tempting to try to classify people using record types, but it's typically not actually a good idea, because 10 years from now, you actually hope that many people you serve, or many people who are partners, or many people who are volunteers are also donors, also volunteers, and so the lines get confusing, and record type is not the best way to classify people. So a person has the same fields in Salesforce as is in nonprofit Success Pack for some things, such as first and last name. We add 3 email fields, we add 3 phone fields, because typically we're interested in work and home, and often an alternative like school or some club or something else. They have an address typically, it's typically where they live. Because we're interested in tracking donors and volunteers, people have statistics, how much they gave last year, 2 years ago, this year, in total, how many times they have volunteered, how many hours they have volunteered completely from the beginning. So you get all of those things being summarized on the contact by the nonprofit Success Pack every night. You don't have to do any of that work to have that, but it gets updated each night to keep the workload reasonable. Now, people live somewhere, and we call that their household account. And even if we don't know where it is, it's generally the recommended practice for small nonprofits to attach the people to their household account. The goal would be to know them well enough that they do become a donor, or you do begin to know things about them, and now you have a place to put it. And you can group people who live together under the same household. So it's a record type of an account. It's called a household account. It has the types of things you would expect: a name, a billing address, but it has a lot of customization around it. The name is created automatically from the people who live there. So Terry Cole and Rosie Cole live at my household, and that household can be customized to be called Cole Family, or Terry Cole Family, or Terry and Rosie Cole Family, or Cole, parenthesis, Terry and Rosie, close parenthesis, household. All of that is customizable, and you set that up to be however you need to best deal with it. The address between Rosie and me and my household is synchronized automatically unless you override that. So one change to one means all of them change, and you just don't have to worry about keeping those in sync. The household does have donor statistics, how much all of the people at the household this year, last year, 2 years ago, etc. And there's a nice little Visual Force page to make adding and removing contacts easy. So that's kind of the about people and where they live. Now, what about all the other things about people? Where they work, where they play, where they worship, where they gather, where they socialize. These we capture with an organizational account, and we connect those two. So first, about the organizational account. It is an account, and it's a record type called organizational account. But unlike in commercial Salesforce, we're not going to normally attach the people who work there directly. Those people, if we know them, are going to be attached to their household account, and they're just going to be connected to the organizational account, saying, "Hey, they work here," or "Hey, they worship here," or "Hey, they went to school here," or "they socialize here." They're a member here. So it has the organizational account has all the normal fields that Salesforce offers. Name. There's a pick list for like what kind of account it is. Bear in mind that even this is deceiving. For example, an account that is a church is a church, and there are members there who worship there. But in all likelihood, there are also employers there. In all likelihood, there could be people who go to school there. So it's always a little more complicated than you think. So the pick list is kind of just the main reason they're in your database. It's not the only reason. And accounts have donation totals as well. Okay. Now, I said we connect the people to the organization accounts. We do that through a new object called the affiliation. It's a custom object provided by Nonprofit Success Pack. It's just a custom object, but it's provided for you. It connects the person to where they live, or I'm sorry, where they work, or where they play, or where they worship, or socialize, or gather, or learn. There's a role field, the start and end dates. So this can be time limited. There's a current box, so it's like current person, current member, or former member. You can add a description field, capture rough notes. There is a checkbox that's maintained by the Success Pack. Only one of these can be checked per relationship for a person. That's the main relationship you're tracking. Sometimes we say the best practice is to make it the place where they work, but generally it's the main reason you know them. This is a join object. It's customizable. You can use automation around it. So we've got people, and we've got organizations, and we know how to connect them. Another thing we often track at nonprofits is who's friends with whom, who's relative of someone else. And we do that with another custom object called a relationship. It's a directed relationship from one person to another person. For example, person A could be the mother of person B. And we would also probably want to know that person B is the daughter of person A. And those are maintained together and created automatically by the Nonprofit Success Pack. Those are called reciprocal relationships. It's all automated, easy to do. So we have all of that going on in the relationship of it. We capture money with opportunities just like we do in commercial Salesforce. And the key fields are just as you always done: amounts, close date, stage. But often in the nonprofit world, we think of the money not coming as from an account, but from a person. And Salesforce does not make that direct connection. So money is always attached to an account, but we use opportunity contact roles to say who gave us the money. So if Mary Smith or Jane Smith lives at a household account and gives money, we attach the opportunity to the household account, but we say Jane has the opportunity contact role of donor, and she gets the credit for that donation. Now we may also want to know that we also may automatically make John Smith a donor, and we can do that by giving him an opportunity contact role if we want as well. And there is a child object associated with every opportunity in the Success Pack called the payment. And most small nonprofits are going to find that they have a one-to-one relationship between payment and opportunity. And in fact, you don't even have to use the payment object if you want. But if you start finding a difference between pledged money and received money, or if you start having a lot of donations where it's a $12,000 gift, but they're going to give it to you in $1,000 increments in 12 months, then you may want to use the payment object. It lets you recognize that they have made a promise of $12,000 to us, but they've actually only delivered on, for example, 2 of them. And so we have 10 more outstanding. It lets you track that. Salesforce is not a financial accounting system. Nonprofit Success Package is not an accounting package, but in the gifts management process, we sometimes care about the difference between opportunities and payments, and the Success Pack gives you this tool. The payment object is also a nice place to put the check number and the method of payment and the date you received it and things like that. All right. We also have an object in the data model that tracks volunteerism called a volunteer hour. A volunteer hour says how long they worked for you, what day they worked for you, and what kind of job they did for you. But because volunteerism programs have a lot of structure, Volunteers for Salesforce gives you that structure out of the box. You get to break your volunteerism into some campaigns. Some people just have one campaign. Some people have one campaign per event. But you can have as many campaigns as you want, and different jobs are attached to it. I like to think of the job as the place the work is performed. That may not work for everyone, but that's kind of how I like to do it. And then the shift is attached to the job, one or more shifts. And I like to think of the shift as the time and specific task that was done. Maybe you don't have shifts, or maybe you just have one shift every week, and it's always the same job, but this gives you campaign and job shift options. And then you finally connect a person to that with a status of they signed up, or they canceled, or they completed the work, and you have the full data structure for reporting available to you. So that's kind of an overview of the data model. If you command this, you will find working with the Success Pack pretty easy. I encourage you to memorize it. I encourage you to get familiar with it. I encourage you to get a trial org and import data. One of the problems you have with a trial org is you don't have a lot of sample data to play with, and so we have provided that on our website, mightyforce.org. You can go to downloads and download the data. Clicking on here, we do ask for a gift to Street Youth Ministry, the ministry that I founded, of $12. If you don't like that, contact me. I'll give you a coupon code for half off or all off, depending on the case you make. We're not trying to exploit anybody. We just think it turns out to be valuable to have sample data, and we're hoping it's so useful to you. You would make a small gift to help homeless young people turn their lives around. But if you find that objectionable in any way, just contact me. I'll work it out with you. That's all I've got. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and sign off. If you found this helpful, let me know. And if you have comments or suggestions for future broadcasts or feedback on this one, please let me know. It's the very first time we've ever done it. And there's a lot that wasn't ideal about this, but we're hoping to find a lightweight way to share encouragement and share tips with because we want to see every nonprofit adopt Salesforce for good as early as possible in the process. I can't tell you how many people we talk to that say, I wish we had adopted it 3 years ago. We have a giant mess now, and it's going to cost us a lot of money to move different things we did to Salesforce. And I am convinced that most nonprofits can start with Salesforce probably from the beginning, and would like to talk to you if you think you cannot. We will make you a deal and find you a way to do that, even if we have to do a little bit of the work for you for a very nominal price while you get started and remain focused on your main mission until you're ready to take over full operation yourself. So we call that Rocket Start, by the way. You can contact us on the blog site, reach out to us, and we're happy to assist, advise. We just want to further the industry. All right, thanks very much. Daisy, wait, bye-bye. Bye.